morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now, we've had a quick preview of 8.5. We've had a look at some of the buffs that are coming. That was in my update 8.5 video. Now, I didn't actually realize when Wargaming gave us the information, they only gave us the information of some tanks. Looking on Blitzhanger, wow, the update is going to be absolutely incredible for some of these tanks, and we're going to go and have a look at each and every one of these tanks that are getting buffed. Now, first up, a lot of these are stock guns, so it is going to make it a little bit easier when grinding out these lines. So not much, but a little bit. And the first buff for the stock gun on the T54E1 is you are getting a little bit more penetration. Not a lot, only 7, but you know, it's still a buff at the end of the day. The same as the Vickers Light, the tier 9 gun, not the tier 10 gun, that is getting a big buff. The DPM is going from 2,300 to 2,700. That is a big buff for the stock gun. The alpha is getting higher at 225 instead of 190. 120 there instead of 118 for the crew damage or whatever that is on the APCR, whatever that is, I don't know. Well, the APCR, sorry, the DPM is going from 1963 to 2331, and your HE is going from 3000 to 3600. So that is a nice little buff for the stock gun on the Vickers Cruiser. Also on the tier 9 gun on the Centurion 7.1, it is getting a big buff. 500 DPM more than it already is, and again, that is getting more alpha all across the board. So 4,000 DPM on the HE gun there. It hasn't got the Hesh, but you know, it's still a big buff there. The tier 9 gun on the Conqueror, again, it's getting around about a 400 buff to almost 3,000 there, 2,891, and the damage goes to 225. So yeah, that they are proper buffing these stock guns. Persian, the proper gun, the upgraded gun, I've already spoke about this. The rate of fire is going from 8.57 to 10.43. Reload from 7 seconds to 5.75. Of course, you can get that down even more if you run adrenaline. So DPM is a nice little buff there for the Persian. The same as the T69, it is getting a penetration buff. Not much, but again, 7 extra penetration on the T69. The Super Persian, the T26E4, just the aim time there from 2.21 to 1.82. And as we already spoke about, the T32 is getting a penetration buff from 198 to 218 and from 245 to 265. Now, the other tank with the exact same gun is the Chrysler K, so that is going to the exact same penetration on the AP and the APCR. T54E2 is getting a traverse speed. Not sure why, because that's already a strong tank. Not too much of a buff, but it's still a buff on a tank that doesn't need to be buffed. And the same with the EXP, decent tank, and that is getting some more traverse speed. T28 Defender, better dispersion. Currently it is 0.403, and that's going to 0.384, and again the traverse speed is getting buffed. TS5, now not many people have the TS5. It is kind of a meh tank. Again, traverse speed. They are literally buffing almost all the tier 8 traverse speeds. They want them to go a little bit quicker. The T54 lightweight there is getting a traverse speed as well. Moving down, the Light 432, which is the new tank on the block, that is getting a better dispersion and more HP. Again, it's a buff, but not too much of a buff. STG there, more better dispersion from 0.412 to 0.384. IS3 on the top gun is base aim time is currently 3.26. That is going to 2.97. So a nice little aim time buff there for the IS3. KV4, again, aim time 3.26 to 3.07. Not too much, but again, it is a buff, and the buff in the Object 252U's aim time. The KV5 is going to be good. ish. The rate of fire from 5.35 to 6.26, and that means the reload is going from 11.22 to 9.59. So 300 DPM buff there for the KV5, which is not bad at all. The KV5 is already an average tank, and some might call it bad, but I believe it's actually getting an armor buff as well. IS5 aim time, ISU 152 is getting better, more HP, only 90 there, and the traverse speed is actually getting nerfed. So we've found a nerf there for the ISU 152. SU 101, power, the weight is dropping a tiny, or going up, sorry, a tiny bit, but again, they are nerfing all the power to rate, all the power to weight ratio, sorry, on hard terrain, medium terrain, soft terrain. Not quite sure why that's getting nerfed, because that's not that great. It's okay, but also the traverse is getting nerfed, and the speed is getting nerfed. So yeah, not too good for the SU 101 there. Already an average tank, and that's just going to make it a little bit more worse for wear. ISU 130 HP buff, not a bad HP buff actually, from 1010 to 1250, and it is getting the traverse speed. SU 130 PM base aim time is dropping, not a bad drop either, to 1.53, and the dispersion is dropping just slightly to 0.326. Indian Panther is dropping base time to 1.73. So yeah, not sure what these buffs is on about. It's mainly tier 8. They are literally bringing tier 8 into the meta again. Tiger 2, which we've already looked at, is going to be an insane buff there for the Tiger 2. VK100 drop in dispersion, nothing too much to write home about, the same as the VK168. J Panther 2 on the Top Gun, rate of fire nerf, but this is what I don't understand. Sorry, rate of fire nerf from 5.77 to 5.76. Like, is there any point? It's literally dropping 1 DPM. Like, what is the point? Seriously, what is the freaking point? Okay, the speed is dropping 5 kilometers an hour. Okay, that's a little bit of a nerf there, but the DPM, I really don't understand why Wargaming do that. F301 penetration is going from 226 to 225. Again, it's dropping 1. Like, what are you doing, Wargaming? Why? Centurion 1 is getting a DPM buff from 2050 to 2243, and a little penetration nerf to 225. Again, it's dropping 1. Carnarvon on the Top Gun. Now, this is a big buff for the Carnarvon. DPM from 2243 to 2657. That is a big buff there for the Carnarvon. I like the Carnarvon, but it's not that popular. You have to shoot quite a few times to actually pick up the damage, whereas now the average damage is going from 190 to 225. So yeah, that's a big massive buff, I think, for the Carnarvon there, and the same with the Chieftain T95. DPM is going up just over 300, and the penetration is going up by 3. AT-15 now, we already know that the AT-15, the DPM is insane, but the aim time is dropping quite a bit, to be honest, and so is the dispersion from 1.63 to 2.21, and the dispersion from 0.288 to 0.326. Charioteer traverse speed is getting buffed. The Hurry TI is getting buffed and nerfed. HP is going up, weight is going up, all the power to rate ratio is going down, and traverse speed on hard terrain only is going down just by 1. T-34-3 dispersion is getting a little bit better. The WZ-112 traverse speed is better. The Boras, which isn't even in the game yet, is getting a nice little buff there for when it does come into the game, which we're not sure when. AMEC 5120, the weight is going up, all the power to weight ratio is going down, but it is getting that turret buff as well. Pantera, we'll get to the end soon. Pantera, you can all see see there, it's getting a bit of a nerf there. Power to rate ratio and the traverse speed. Traverse speed, a little bit, to be honest. That's quite a little bit of a buff there for the traverse on the Pantera. TVP, the tier 8 version, the VTU, aim time 2.21 to 1.63. The Skoda T27, aim time is getting slightly better, same as the Dispersion. M6A3E2 view range is getting better, rate of fire is getting better, reload time is going from 6.71 to 5.75, and that gives it around about a 200 better DPM on that. Jackson getting nerfed, not sure why. Again, it's not that great, and the nerf, again, 1.63 aim time to 1.82. Lotus Sherman is going to get a little bit quicker. And the Panzer IV-S, the Dispersion, a little bit better. VK3601H, traverse speed, better. It is going to be a slightly slower at 45 kilometers per hour. The Jag Panzer IV is getting nerfed. The aim time 1.63 to 1.82. The Nashorn is getting nerfed 1.82 to 2.01. I mean, some of these are just absolutely pointless. The Sherman Firefly there, again, not too much of a buff. The Churchill 7, not too much of a buff, to be honest. What you're looking at, around 60 better DPM, which is nothing really. And the exact same with the Churchill Mark 6, which is basically a Churchill 7 there. So that's pretty much getting the same DPM, etc, etc, etc. 88 aim time nerf and the Dispersion nerf. Churchill gun carrier is getting buffed all across the board. Gonna go a little bit quicker at 30 kilometers per hour, so not bad of a buff there for the Churchill game carrier. We're just gonna, at this point, we're just going to scroll down to see if there is any major other buffs here. I mean, most of them are just very small that there's not even really worth talking about. I mean, even things like the KV220 getting a better Dispersion ever so slightly. Doesn't need it, but you know, Matilda is going to be a little bit quicker. Again, 3 kilometers per hour. What else have we got here? AMX ELC S35CA nerf. And I think we come to the end here, finally. So let's just have a look at the armor profiles here. So, not quite sure. If you look at the turret, the purple bit on the left side from here, it's purple and then a tiny bit of pink inside. Now, as soon as you change it, that is just going to go purple. So I think that is a little bit of a buff there for the E100, but ever so slight buff there. T54 lightweight. You can see this can change in completely. Look at the size of the turret here, and it's going to go down. This is with the HD model that is coming with the T54 lightweight. So it's going to look a little bit different in the game. So a nice update there on the T54 lightweight. Now this is where the KV5 is supposed to, I mean, look at that. Look at all across the turret and the hatches and everything that's in front of it. At the minute it's reddish, more sort of orangey red that can be penetrated. As soon as you switch it across, it is literally going red. So that is a much needed buff there for the KV5. And you can see here with the front plate and the gun mantlet for the VK4502, which I currently already had in my, I said it in a previous video that it's a useless tank. Now that is getting an armor profile buff. Currently it's that, and it's going to that. So not a bad buff there for the VK45. WZ1111 GFT, which is the Chinese tier 8 tank. What have we got here? Again, it's a little bit orange, yellowy, but it's going to go more orange. So a buff there. And where are we on the FCM here? Not quite sure what's changing on the FCM. I think it's the gun mantlet. You can see the cheeks there. It's a little bit orange, and it does go just a little bit more red. AMX 5100, which we've already had a look at, which is a nice buff. Currently it is literally no armor, all yellow, and if you look at the turret ring here, it's going to be red as hell. So a nice buff there for the AMX 5120. Pantera, you can see it's getting actually more armor on the front plate. It's still going to be easy to penetrate, but again, it's still a buff. And the same with the TVP VTU. Currently the upper plate is yellowish, and that is going to more sort of reddy orange. Churchill 7, let's have a look here. The upper plate, again, you can see here, and the upper deck, you can see it's just going, the upper deck's going more orangey than yellow, and the upper plate is sort of now orange, and it is going a bit more red. So yeah, this is a proper buff, and this is the Panda 2, which is getting the buff, not the buff, but it's getting the HD model, which means it is just going to change ever so slightly. So that is literally all the buffs that is coming this next update. Which buff are you most looking forward to? Personally, the Tiger 2 is going to be crazy. The AMX 5100 is going to be good. But yeah, that's the KV5 for me will probably be the best. Other than the Tiger 2, which is the best buff, coming in at probably second is the KV5. I think that's going actually to be a strong tank in this update. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Let me know what buff you're looking forward to the most in the comments below. I'm Meadsy, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye.